Hello and welcome to This American Girl Reads. My name is Kirsten and today I am going to show you my dollhouse. A couple of people earlier on when I mentioned that I had a dollhouse had asked for this sort of tour. There isn't all that much to see. I keep my dollhouse pretty simple, but I still wanted to go ahead and share it, especially because I actually have it all set up right now with 3 different scenes that all have a similar theme of slumber parties. I did that because I'm filming this on June 7th, and a few weekends ago, a couple of my local American Girl collector friends and I met up at Christy from AG Takes Over's house, and we had a slumber party, and we did doll repair, and we had a bunch of fun slumber party activities. I will link Christy's video about it in the card. Or maybe it's over here. I don't know. It'll be up here linked in the card for you to take a look at if you want to see kind of what we got up to. I'm not covering that here, but I am going to show you the rooms of my dollhouse that are currently set up as though my dolls are having a series of slumber parties. Some things about my dollhouse to start with before we take a closer look at everything. This is an IKEA PAX wardrobe, the really tall version. I'm actually gonna have to stand on a step stool to show you like the top layers because I am 5'3" and clearly this thing is taller than I am. So it's an IKEA PAX wardrobe. I got 3 shelves for it because you buy the shelves separately. And then put them in based on the room heights that I thought I wanted. I ultimately ended up making a last minute adjustment, which I'll show you when we get to that particular room. But that is what I use, and then I'll show you kind of the offshoot because you can kind of see a hint of it right there. I'll show you the little offshoot at the end of the video once we're done with the slumber party scene. So with that, let's go ahead and take a closer look. All right, so here we are at the topmost room of my dollhouse. This is the topmost room. So this is where, you know, some of my doll scenes happen. However, I'm going to tilt the camera. Be careful for motion sickness. Even above this room, I have a shelf that reaches the top that holds a bunch of storage. So that is kind of a hint of how I store a lot of my doll stuff. I use AG boxes. It gets labeled with what the theme of that box is, and then it gets stored up there, which is why I have a step stool right next to this because I can't really reach up here without a step stool. So this room right here, what you're seeing right now, is my flex space. This is a room that doesn't belong permanently to any one doll. It can be switched around for a lot of different things. So you can see up here, you see how there's like some white showing? That is because originally this top shelf up here was lower and you couldn't see any of the white. But when I got the coffee shop set, it was just a little bit taller than I had planned on because I hadn't initially planned on getting it when I set this up. And so in order to put the coffee shop in here, I had to raise this top shelf up a little bit more. So I just say like it's like soffit or something, you know how some places have like a little drywall or a little plaster at the top of a brick wall. But that is why this has brick walls and a wood floor, is because those are kind of timeless. They can fit in a lot of different time periods and a lot of different areas, and so that's why I wanted to be like this. And so currently this is set up as Ramona. This is Ramona. She's my number 54. This is set up as Ramona's basement. And let me see how turning these lights on impacts the lighting. Excuse my head as I reach. Yes, so this is set up as Ramona's basement. In my stories, Ramona here, her grandpa Ito helped her make a little basement hangout for her and her friends. And so she is hosting a sleepover with Ariadne, Charlie, Indy, and this is my number 43, Elena, who you can't see super well at this particular moment. So again, this is a flex space, so none of this is permanent. All of this is designed. I mean, it's a dollhouse. You can always take anything out and whatever, but it's very specifically meant to be anything can be pulled out and redone. But for Ramona's room, I have, like, this is a furniture piece from Target back when I was still shopping at Target. I have the Xbox set from American Girl. I have a little Nintendo Switch keychain. Those are some board game sets that American Girl put out years ago. These crates came from Joanne, rest in peace. The sofa here is the World by Us Community Center sofa, and then I have the World by Us mini fridge. The Twister game is from the 90s American Girl of Today sets. So yeah, just lots of little stuff in here. Some things that you really can't see with the current setup. Let's see if I can gently move some dolls. Come here, Charlie. Indy's not leaning on you too much. So over here, you can see the World by Us Community Center lamp that came with the sofa. And then there's another little table back there. Again, another piece that I got from Target before I stopped shopping at Target. And then I don't have a doll TV. That's not something I own. And I don't know if I fully am invested in getting one. However, this is my Nintendo Switch. My Nintendo Switch without the Joy-Cons on actually works really, really well as a doll TV. Fun fact. So that's kind of this setup. And like I said, it's set up right now as though these five are having a slumber party and having a grand old time. I think it looks really cute, and I enjoy the Ramona setup because it's one that I get to do repeatedly. Ramona plays D&D with some of my other dolls, and so I've done a setup in Ramona's basement before where like they're all playing D&D together. So it's a nice versatile set, and part of Ramona's story is that she's very, very shy, and so she's trying to make more friends and really push herself to do new things so that she can work through some of her shyness. So that means that I get to do a lot of different things with a lot of different dolls in the Ramona space, which again isn't permanent. It's just one that I've done a couple of times, and so I know what I like to keep in it to keep it kind of consistent. So that's the top space. And then I'm going to go ahead and lower you down here. Whee! Gotta do a little bit more lowering. Whee! All right, and now we are in Claudie's room. All right, I hope it's okay that I'm kind of like in and out. I feel very awkward and like very close to the camera. And also it makes the lighting weird. Come back, lighting. Come back. Good enough. So this middle room, so, again, we have up here, we have the flex space, and then this middle room is Claudie's room. And it's kind of a mixed space. It's definitively Claudie's room in the sense that I mean for it to be her room. But she kind of shares the space a little bit with Kit and some of her things, and then she also shares it with Rebecca periodically. I get a little weird about my historical dolls crossing eras, and so it's really hard for me to do, and so I don't do it consistently. But when it comes to Rebecca and Claudie being paired together, and then Claudie and the missing Kit being paired together, that is something I can do. I don't really feel comfortable putting Rebecca and Kit together. Again, it's just because of the weird rules in my brain. Yeah, so this is Claudie's room. You can see I have Claudie's bed here, and then I have Claudie in her pajama set, and she has her bunny and her Velveteen Bunny book, and then Rebecca's sitting here in her first pajama set, and then I recently received her little merry-go-round carousel thing. This was a gift from Christy at AG Takes Over, which I was very excited to receive because I love Rebecca's collection. It's one of my favorites. Whoop. She is sitting on a rug, which is actually a placemat, and then under her bed I have stored her suitcase from her traveling set. Gotta tuck that back away because that's where she likes to keep it. Behind Rebecca, I have Kit's nightstand that I got at the Saline Doll Show earlier this year. And on top of it, I have Claudie's mirror, and then I have 2 books that I added to my collection, which you would have seen in a collection update a little while ago. So I have those just kind of hanging out. And then I have the Madam C.J. Walker cream here that also just kind of lives on the nightstand. And then below that, I have the actual traveling kit for Claudie that lives there. And then over on this side of the room, this is really kind of a little bit more of the Kit side of the room in a lot of ways, but again, it is blended. I have Kit's desk with the typewriter, and I have her journalism, one of her journalism sets. So I have this with the little notepad. I leave this down over here, but then this lives on the desk with the pen so that, you know, they can write in it whenever they want. And I have Kit's camera, and then I have Kit's phone, Claudie's bakery with cookies inside, Kit newspapers that came in one of Kit's sets, film that came in one of Kit's sets, and then I have Claudie's scooter here with the chicken from Kit's chicken keeping outfit set. No, is it supposed to live in the house? No, but it's adorable and I love having it out, so it kind of just nests there on Claudie's scooter. And then Claudie has her bag here as well as her travel hat, and they just kind of live there as decorations. So the wallpaper here was something my mother found, actually. I knew I wanted like a yellowy, floral, printy kind of wallpaper, and my mom found it somewhere. I don't remember where, but it has a nice antique look. So, you know, technically all the rooms can technically be flex spaces, right? Like there's nothing to say that I can't pull this stuff out and put new stuff in here. And I have done that like once or twice for some photos where it made sense, because this is a nice antique-y kind of wallpaper that works for a lot of different eras. And then I also wanted a wood floor look for this. So again, these are just like this is just like contact paper rolls. For the floor above, it was contact paper for the wood floor, but the brick walls were scrapbook paper from Joann's. So yeah, that is this room. And I'm going to take you down another level to the next bedroom and sleepover scene. It's just going to be a little jerkier, so I might actually not do it on camera because I don't think that this tripod is actually going to get low enough to easily look at the space. So hold on just one moment. All right, it isn't perfect, but hopefully you can see what you need to see. So this right here is my 90s bedroom setup that also shares a lot of stuff with the 80s. So Courtney can be in this space, or my 90s Jewish trio here can be in this space. This one is I'm less willing to be flexible about it because there's just so much more in it that I don't want to like continually have to pull it out and reset it, because I don't really have storage space for all of this stuff because it lives here. So in this space we have Donna over there, then we have Lindsay, and then we have Nicole, and they are hanging out for a nice weekend sleepover. You know, they each have they have a bunk bed for two of them to sleep, and then Donna brought her sleeping bag so that she can sleep in her sleeping bag. And you can see behind Donna, yeah, you can see it. I have the 90s computer from the, you know, American Girl of Today set. So like the original old-fashioned one. It does actually 100% work still, which is just wild to me. But I love it. It's so fun. I am not a Mac girly. I am very much PC all the way. So it does kill me a little bit that my dolls have a Mac. But, you know, I can forgive them. They didn't get to pick it out. That was very much probably a hand-me-down from their parents when their parents got a new computer. And then on the desk as well, we have Courtney's school set for the most part. One of the reasons why I put the 80s and 90s stuff together is that I had, like, Courtney's 80s school stuff still feels very, very my childhood. So I don't feel like it clashes, really. So I like to keep it all in one place. It just helps the space feel really filled out. And then next to the desk, we have the sleepover set for the 90s twins with some random things thrown in there. The little plastic drawer thing, I think probably came from Target. So yeah, there's that. And then I actually have two of these can I reach far enough? Two of these 90s school lunch bag sets. Really love those. They're really cool. I don't have all the stuff that came with it, but that's okay. I have on the ground Nicole's Walkman, her CD player, because I wanted it to be a little bit messy in here, so you can see that there's some CDs laying around too. Under here I have Courtney's Caboodle. Love this thing. Had one as a child that I put dress up things in. And then of course I have the 90s bunk bed. I really don't, I guess the reason that they didn't give the twins bunk beds is because Courtney has bunk beds, and so having two eras have exactly the same style of bed, probably they didn't love that. But I think that the twins make way more sense to have a bunk bed, even though I don't have Isabel, and I don't plan on getting Isabel, so my Nicole is a twin. But I really love the bunk bed set. It was something I really wanted as a kid, and so I was super excited to get it. And then you can see around, I have different bedding on the bunk bed set than came with it, because originally, it was the suitcases that were really the bedding for that. And so I do have not suitcases, oh my god. I do have two sleeping bags that were originally serving as bedding, but I really like them as sleeping bags, so I have different bedding to live on the bed. And then I have a bunch of the teeny Beanie Babies that were part of the McDonald's Happy Meals for quite a while. I have a ton of these, and so I have more than the ones that are showing in this bedroom, but I put out some of my childhood favorites on here for the dolls to have, and then the rest are kind of in storage for use or to give to folks, because they don't need all of them. I mean, yes, I had a stupid huge Beanie Baby collection as a child, and I still have it. It hasn't gone anywhere. My parents did not intend it to be investing for me, by the way. They just wanted me to have fun with it, and I did. But yeah, so I have my favorites up here. Lizzie was always one of my favorites as a kid. I think was he Ants or Antsy? Because this one's Antsy, but sometimes the teeny Beanie Babies have different names. So don't remember, but love these guys. Really important for my 90s space to have Beanie Babies, because that's just accurate. There's more Beanie Babies behind Nicole here. Lindsay has the Tamagotchi around her foot right here, so that she can just shake her leg to bounce it around so it goes on walk and ooh, Nancy, stay. So yeah, she can just jiggle her foot to help exercise the Tamagotchi. I have the butterfly string lights just kind of attached to the bed and decorating. Isabel's big pillow is on the bed. Nicole is sitting in her inflatable chair. I wanted one of these so badly when I was a kid, and never got one. Rightfully so. I had 6 dogs and 6 cats growing up, so that was not happening. But I'm so excited that my dolls have one. And then I do have the ability, when it is Courtney's space, very specifically, I do have the beanbag chair that I can swap out. But when it's the 90s space, it tends to be the inflatable chair, since I wanted one so bad. And then over on the very edge here, I have Courtney's TV. And on top of it, I have this alarm clock from the 90s set. I have draped over the TV the jump rope set from Courtney's exercise set. I have can you even see that? Yeah, the VHS, the weighted dumbbells. Tucked kind of behind, I have Nicole's skateboard. And then, of course, I have Courtney's lunchbox here on the very edge. And again, Nicole and the 90s crew here kind of share the same stuff with Courtney, because a lot of this could very easily have been things that kids had in the 90s as well. And then you can see that this space is actually unfinished. I have been very indecisive about what I want the wall color to be, because I want it to be realistic for what a 90s kid would have. So probably not so much like patterned wallpaper, but probably more like a solid color. And a light purple makes sense in some ways because of Nicole's favorite color in her books. But then I have the green bedding, and so like it's just I'm just very conflicted. I'm very, very conflicted. So right now it's just white, which I wouldn't mind just white because that was also fairly realistic. I had lots of friends who had just white walls, except that you can't really see, but like you can there's still all the holes for where you could adjust the shelves to, and I don't like that. That bothers me. So I want to cover it at some point, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And then the carpet here is actually just a rug from the Dollar Tree, and it happens to fit the space almost perfectly. There's a gap about that big between the side here and the rug, but it's pretty well hidden by this little dresser thing. Oh, this dresser thing came from Joanne, I think this was a Joanne purchase. So it's pretty well covered by this. The lunchbox here fits perfectly in the gap, and so it also helps hide it, and then the rest is hidden by the bed. So it doesn't bother me that it has a gap. I really, really needed this space to have carpet because I don't know anyone who had hardwood floors in their bedroom when they were kids. And so I really base this space a lot off of my childhood experiences and my childhood reminiscences of the 90s. And yeah, so that is this space as it is now. I think it's really nice. Again, it's unfinished, but it still functions, and I can still let my little, 90s Jewish crew come here and hang out. They get to, eat food and hang out on Shabbat, and, they hang out, on Christmas because they don't celebrate. So, like, I have lots of fun telling little stories about these three together since their time periods are so close, with her being 99 and her being 2001. Age doesn't matter. They're all 90s kids. They all hang out together. So that is this room. It is notably taller than, you can't even see like here, let me adjust this slightly. There's the ceiling. And that is because I wanted somebody to be able to sit down on the top bunk realistically without having to be tilted or have to lay down or whatever. So I gave a little extra room here, and it worked out fine. So, none of the other rooms feel short. All the dolls can stand up and still have space above their heads. So yeah, that is the 90s space. And then the final doll space I have here is right next to the dollhouse. So, that white wall that you're seeing right there is the edge of the dollhouse. And it is not on the ground. It is actually this is actually a toy chest that I got from IKEA. I'll show you what's inside in a moment. It's super fun. But I put Angelo's bakery here because I actually have all of Claudie's things. I don't have her dog because I don't care for her dog, but every other part of her collection I own. It was really important to me. I wanted to have the complete collection of a doll, and Addie and Rebecca and Claudie were the three that were contenders. And Claudie's just happened to be the easiest one to actually get because it's still in stores. And Rebecca and Addie have some sets that sell for a stupid amount of money, and so shockingly, getting something like Angelo's Bakery was actually more affordable. Although, to be transparent, Angelo's Bakery was a gift. My mom got it for me, but it may have also been like a split gift with my partner. I don't remember the details. So Mom, if you're watching this, please don't yell at me. I just can't remember these specific details if you didn't split it with Steven or not. But this is the bakery set. I love it. It does have some additional pieces that aren't actually part of it, and that's over here. This is part of Mary Ellen's diner set. My mom noticed that the colors were pretty similar, and so she thought it'd be a fun little add-on for me to have. So it's Mary Ellen's like bakery case and like checkout counter. And it does actually match pretty well. Sometimes I'll pull it out, sometimes I add it in, it just kind of depends. And this kind of gets rearranged depending on what kind of scene I want to tell, and I can obviously flip Angelo's Bakery around so that, you know, you can use the oven side. It works really well in this space. It's actually fairly versatile, all things considered. So that is the last piece of my dollhouse / doll scene space that I have available to me. And then I did promise to show you, so the toy chest, I'm going to tilt the camera, the toy chest will open, and then if you look inside, these are all doll shoes. This is all my doll shoes. I keep them in little plastic bags that are not fully sealed so that moisture doesn't get trapped. And they just all live in there. So we're gonna gently set you back up. Hopefully not drop you or make you seasick. And there you have it. Those are my spaces. They're pretty nice, I think. So there you have it. These are my doll spaces. They're nicely flexible for when I need them to be flexible, but they don't have to be. And I'm pretty good at keeping them as doll scenes and not junk storage. I know it can sometimes, when we're like setting doll scenes and stuff, it can be really tempting to just like add everything to one area and then walk away, and then, you know, the next thing we know, we can't use the scene because it's got so much stuff piled up in it. But because 2 of the scenes are permanent, it's actually pretty easy for me to keep it like strictly stuff that belongs in that space. I might set something down temporarily, but I'm pretty good about cleaning it out because I want those spaces to be usable and viewable and things along those lines. When I was setting up this IKEA PAX wardrobe, and by me I mean my partner, the plan originally was that I would get one of these here, and then later on, after I had saved up for it, I would get a second one of these to go right here. And it would be the same thing where I would have one space that was slightly bigger in order to accommodate Angelo's Bakery. That was the plan. But I realized, you know, right here, this little wooden frame right here, that's my door frame into this room. And so if I added another one of these super huge, tall IKEA PAX wardrobes, it would be a very narrow space to get in through the door, because what you can't see right now is right here on the wall that's right next to the door are my doll shelves that I'm usually filming in front of. So again, it would just be a really narrow space. I just thought that was probably a bad idea in case I ever wanted to change this room around. I don't want it to be like very difficult to bring things in and out. And I have a very large wall over there. That's where my bookshelves are, because this is a split room. This is half doll room, half library. So until that changes, and I don't anticipate it changing, I get one play space in my house. This kind of has to do. I would love to be able to add more spaces at some point, but that's just not something that is doable in my space right now. So the 3 rooms will have to do, and that's why it was important for me to have a flex room so that I could still do lots of different scenes, but not have as many actual individual spaces, if that makes sense. At some point, I plan on giving you guys a tour of my doll room. It's not particularly large, but it's always so messy, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm really good about not cluttering the doll scenes. The floor is a whole other question. The floor is just a really big shelf, right? Like, it's just a shelf. It's a good storage space. But it does mean that, like, it's not easy to maneuver, and it doesn't look great. So you haven't gotten a doll room tour yet. At some point, I might just give up and give you like the most honest doll room tour you're ever going to see, where it's just like, yeah, no, there's just piles of stuff on the floor because I don't have a good place to store it right now. And I can still do the things that I need to do in here, so who cares? But I'm not there yet. I still hold out hope that I'm someday going to get this space cleaned up enough, never perfect, but cleaned up enough that I feel like I can comfortably show it to you without being like, please don't judge me. But maybe you'd have fun judging me. I have fun judging me sometimes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed taking a quick look at my doll room, my dollhouse spaces, and seeing how I organize them and decorate them. They don't get changed much, so don't expect a lot of dollhouse tours, because it's really only the one room that gets changed on a regular basis. The other two remain the same. But I hope you enjoyed. Do you have a dollhouse, or how do you set up doll scenes for in your spaces? How do you organize things so that you can take pictures or have them on display? And how do you do that if you don't have a lot of room? I'm always especially amazed at how people get creative in really small spaces. I think that's really fun to hear about and see. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will like, comment, and subscribe should you so desire, and I will see you next time. Bye.